Hey wadau mazee, this is one of those episodes zetu zenye tunasemanga approach with an open mind.
The primary function in this world is to ensure that your X genes, your X factor, your X chromosome survives the next generation. So every economic activity you do, even a gangster who steals from people, a conman, a teacher, all those resources are meant to look for a woman who you are now going to entrust your genes, and she multiplies them.
Our guest for this episode, Biraremi, has a background in construction, lakini he has written one of the finest books by a Kenyan author. Inaitwa New Confident Africa, and you will love the ideas. Unaharibu.
Yeah.
Sex makes good hair.
For women. It improves their hair, it improves their skin, it improves their, they sleep better, and scientifically, and I can
like how good does it make the hair? Like, is it so
glows,
good that you can drop the salon?
The glows.
Hii episode ya leo basically iko na explanation ya the science behind everything.
Say these things, you can verify them. Research is all over. It's actually possible, in fact, for you to have a child with a woman and she does not look like you. She resembles a former sexual partner because his genetics, his genes are embedded in her DNA.
When the kid is tested, it is you. I'm your host, Dr. Kingori, and here's another reason to stay subscribed to our channel. Come out, just subscribe, maze. This right here is another reason to stay subscribed and turn on the notifications bell.
But now, if you're ever in need of an office space, please Poa inaweza bring out the best in you as far as creativity is concerned, as far as productivity is concerned. Hautaki kwenda kwa hustle ya uhaya space, sijui kurent, ulipe goodwill, and hizo vitu zote. You need to consider checking out Wojo. Wojo is a premium co-working space located in Upper Hill, Nairobi, Makio Hotel, formerly Crown Plaza. Wako na anything you'll ever need in an office and so much more. I'm talking about a gym. Hautawai worry about parking, swimming pool, bottomless coffee, beautifully furnished spaces including private offices and meeting room. Wi-Fi is super fast and the list is endless. You can get in touch with the team at Wojo kutumia hizi contact details mweke hapa kwa screen.
One of the best books from Kenyan authors that I've read in recent times. Thank you for Nuria for hooking me up with this. So much to unpack. I'll repeat that. But then again, there's something in Western mindset that I said I didn't understand it because I had to skim through that part for purposes of this conversation. So I thought instead of going back and reading it, I thought it would be interesting if you explained it for us at the testicles. I'll explain that part. At the testicles of a man are outside because they were an afterthought. Now when you look at them, they look like an afterthought. Ni kitu mtu alifikiria baadaye akabandika. That's what comes to my mind. What is going on there?
Okay, this came after a lot of reading about human history and because my position is that human beings were created for a purpose.
Yes.
They are not a spontaneous creation, like biologists or Darwinists want everybody to believe.
Yes.
Human beings were actually created by an intelligent organism, let me call it that, because if you look at the dynamics of the human body, the symmetry, the biological functioning, the physical symmetry, the engineering, it is just not possible for such a complex organism to have just been produced spontaneously.
Yes.
So man was created. That's a fact. And as for me, he was created by God. So my understanding, and this is my understanding, is that when the first man was created, and this actually tallies with what we have in the Bible, because the Bible, I read the Bible on two levels. One, you can read it as a religious text. You can also read it as historical text, because the Bible is actually a very, very old book. So it has a lot of history, which you cannot get from other sources. So a big part of the Bible is actually historical. It records kings in Persia, in Syria, in all those places, in a historical manner, not as a religious function. So human beings were created by God. I'm not ashamed to say that. But when the first man was created, he did not have the capacity to reproduce. he did not have the first man did not have the first human being did not have the capacity to reproduce. And so the creator God felt that creating individual human beings as needed would be very, very tedious, if not possible, if not impossible. And this is actually how the idea came that let us create man, let us create woman, let us create an opposite, because only opposites can produce another whole. Mm-hmm. Two similar things cannot reproduce themselves. So the biblical narrative, and this is I'm speaking this with a lot of caution, because I'm not preaching here, but I'm using the Bible as a reference book. So man must have been the creature man was put to sleep, and his DNA was harvested.
Not the rib, as they say.
Well, it could have come from anywhere. Mm-hmm. It could have been from the rib or from wherever. By the way, do you know that even today, if you want to establish the DNA of somebody, you go for the femur. The femur. This
the bone.
Yes.
Yes.
This is actually what, even today, that's what gives you the best results for DNA testing. So it is likely that the DNA was harvested from his ribs. And then they created woman. But for man and woman to produce, they had to have the reproductive organs. And this is actually how the human testicles, and all testicles of all creatures were now designed outside. The problem is, and I've explained it in my book.
Yes.
The human immune system was already fully functional. It was actually functioning by then. And it would have detected the testis as a foreign body, which has now attacked the body of the host. Mm-hmm. So the human immune system would have actually attacked the testicles and killed them off. So God, in his wisdom, designed them to operate at a lower temperature so that they are actually obscured. The immune system, the body's immune system, cannot detect the presence of testicles. That, I believe, is the function. If you look at the scrotum, there's some kind of a scar that goes round up to the anal opening. and that clearly shows that no other part of the body has a similar scar, which looks like it was sewn up.
Yes.
Yeah, it is. This is evident. So that's my position, that the testicles were added much, much later, after the first man was created.
Okay.
And that's how the woman now and the man with his testicles can reproduce.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So you mentioned something.
So temperature is to make sure that the body does not. In fact, even today, if you operate in a function, if you live in a function where your testicles, the temperature rises, they stop functioning. And that is scientific.
If the temperature rises.
Yes.
Oh, and I think in the book you give examples.
Yeah.
People like long distance
drivers,
truck drivers.
Yes. They have
higher infertility rates.
Yes. Because their testicles are always warm.
Testicles need to be stored in a cool, dry place.
So that the immune system does not detect them.
That is master science.
Yes.
So now, you mentioned engineering somewhere, and thank you for clarifying that. I really needed to hear that from you. It's an interesting theory, and I would be tempted to believe it because I've not finished the book, but there's something I've been reading on cell differentiation, where they were experimenting with ideas of if they took a cell from a different part of the body, like a finger is a group of cells that differentiated and multiplied to form this finger, right? But I think they did samples with a tadpole where they took a cell from the skin and used that nucleus to fertilize an egg, and it actually became another tadpole. Like the parts now from the unit structure of a living organism, the cell, they were able to create a tadpole because on fertilization, differentiation happened to form another frog and all the parts. It's a very interesting concept. So we'll leave that pending for now. Like by the end, that challenges the concept. It adds more information to the concept of harvesting a woman from a man's rib. Interesting concept.
Yeah.
One of the things I was hoping, Ama, I trust we can start discussing because kuna so much.
Yeah.
The first thing when I picked the new Confident Africa was the origin of marriage.
Yeah.
Now, I'll not even get started with that. Hapo kuna nyama. Social engineering. I come across a very interesting terminology in your book. Racial anthropologist.
Yeah.
What is this?
Racial anthropologists were people who were planted among Africans by the imperial forces to study our cultures, our languages, our technology, our everything, so that now they could see where to attack the African psyche. In Kikuyu land, for example, the grandfather of Dr. Leakey, the famous anthropologist who has been working with the Kenya National Museum of Kenya for a long time, his grandfather was actually planted in a Kikuyu family in the early 19th century. And he grew up as a Kikuyu. Everything.
That is before colonialism, before...
You see, the colonial state of Kenya started as a company, the East African Railway Company. That is around 1890. British Africa, yeah.
Yes.
It was actually a company. Yes. Before it became a colony, it was first of all a trading company for the railway.
Yes.
So the railway actually